blessing by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushua, Wahar, Rakah, Quadash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders, a great millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in His work. And as always, I want to say shalom to the believers, the Akim, as well as the Akwab, which would be you brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, this lesson right here is going to be inspired in part, by a video I was watching, which was posted by the elder Manatazak Ba, touching on, not communicating with these fallouts, and as well as these bug outs and upstarts, for that matter, which he was pretty much lambasting off a video that the beloved elder Kazak, from Mississippi, touched on, something he had to endure, which I was fortunate enough to watch his original testimony, going years back, which was a very powerful testimony indeed. And the Spirit compelled me to, touch on this topic as well and somewhat throw my 2 cents in the fact that when you come into this arena, it's very important to proceed with caution, all right? Because we are now being exposed to order for the first time in our lives, being a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American. We knew nothing about order. Everything was perceived to be a level playing field, all right? Jake have this sense of entitlement, as if you have an opinion, as if this is a overtone of a barbershop, or a hair salon, where you have an opinion, you can voice your opinion, this is a level playing field, or what have you. But when you come into this truth, you're actually coming into a government, man, okay, with leaders, men that's set up to lead, For an example, when you consider this current system, this government, you respect it, man. Okay, there are certain regulations that come down from the government. Case in point, you have to pay a water bill. Now, you can easily jump up and make a big fuss. You can say, look, water is my God-given right. It comes with the earth, But you don't do that, man. You pay it. Why? Because you respect the government. Well, it's no different than when you come into this congregation, when you come into this gathering, When you come into this arena, you have to understand that this is a government, and you have to proceed with caution, because the Lord have set up certain men in the form of priests who teach this word, and they're pretty much given the jurisdiction over your life, man. And now you might say, well, hold up. What do you mean by that? Only God can judge me. No, man. Well, let's get the scripture, man. This is the book of Hebrews, the 13th chapter. And I started the 15th verse. It says, by him, therefore, let us, after the sacrifice of praise to the Most High continually, that is, the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. And that's what you're witnessing. This is a continual praise in the form of these epistles, in the form of these videos, whether it's live streams or brothers upload videos during the week, going out on the streets, pushing forth the gospel of Yahweh Shema Shah. That's a form of continual praise. You see? That's the fruit of our lips. Verse 16, but to do good and to communicate, forget not. Yeah, because we are to communicate. And when you communicate, that's a form of doing good. In this modern world, they teach you if you have a food drive, or if you give someone the coat off your back, or you give a homeless guy $5, then that's doing good. No, doing good is to communicate this word, to convey the gospel of Yahweh Shema Shah. Again, but to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, the Most High is well pleased. Yeah, the Most High is well pleased with, this ministry. And again, the men primarily had great millstone, stormed with the elders and apostles and the different men throughout the landscape of America, Babylon the Great, and throughout the world for that matter, near and far, with these different camps springing forth. And again, these epistles in the form of these videos, where Yahweh Shema Shai is well pleased with that sacrifice. Again, but to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices the Most High is well pleased. See? Verse 17, and it's the point. It says, obey them that have the rule over you. Let's read this again. It says, obey them that have the rule over you. You see that? That's why you see a lot of men who are joined to the ranks, of Great Millstone, and eventually they are dismissed, or excommunicated from the camp. That's because they don't understand that this is a government and you are to obey the rule, that's over you, man. And the men that the Lord set up over you. And it don't just stop with men who have come into the different camps. This also applies to the casual listener out there, if you will. Those amongst you brothers and sisters who partake in these live streams, you come on the comment board. Well, you got to understand, you have just come into a government, And there's times where, I have seen on plenty of occasions where you might have someone to come on these live streams and they might display, a disorderly approach. They might go off. And what happens, a brother might block them from the live stream. Now, you might say, well, you know what? The Lord is still dealing with me. I don't care just because you blocked me. But guess what? This is spiritual, man. You can actually be blocked or blotted out in the eyes of Yahweh Shema Shai. Matter of fact, we're going to go back here, but let's prove that. This is the book of Matthew, the 18th chapter. In the 18th verse, it says, verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Yeah, meaning whenever you might bid someone Godspeed, you might send a blessing to a brother or sister out there, Yahweh Shema Shai Barakatah, or Yahweh Shema Shai Barakatham. That's a form of binding, someone on earth. And guess what? The Lord is going to honor that in heaven. You're going to be recorded in heaven. See, let's read this again. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Yes, so the Lord is going to honor what his men have considered to be worthy to either come into a camp or to partake in these different sittings and to dwell amongst the congregation. So when you are bound, whether you join a camp or you come into this arena, the Lord honor that. But it goes on to say, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Yeah, meaning if you excommunicate a guy from the camp, you kick a guy out of the camp, you loose him, well, guess what? The Lord is going to honor that in heaven as well. And even, again, when it pertains to, the listeners out there, you might come on a certain live stream and a brother might block you or loose you on earth. Well, guess what? You're going to be loosed in heaven. The Lord is going to honor that. Again, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. See? Because the Lord himself is not going to come off his throne, and come down and kick you out of the camp, man. No, he have given men jurisdiction. He have given men rule over you. Again, this is a government you coming into, man. So again, it's very important to proceed with caution. You see? So you might say, well, I don't care because this guy blocked me from his channel. I don't care because this guy kicked me out of the camp. The Lord is still dealing with me. Guess what, man? Yahweh Shema Shai is going to loose you in heaven. See? Now, there are exceptions where certain brothers are dismissed from a camp or what have you, and it's Yahweh Shema Shai testing that brother. But for the most part, whenever a guy is cut off from the body, he eventually withers away. And it might not be immediately, because if you cut off, let's say if you cut off a branch fall off a tree. Well, the first couple of days, that branch still look alive. But as time go on, it's going to eventually wither away. Now, that same branch can be cut off and it can be grafted back in, But that remains to be seen. But for the most part, whenever the men whom Yahweh Shema Shai have raised up and set up in his government, well, if they dismiss you or loose you, you're going to be loosed in heaven. meaning the Lord is going to honor that decision. See? So when you go back to the book of Hebrews, the 13th chapter and the 17th verse again, it says, obey them that have the rule over you. Yes, so this is a foreign idea to Jake. You know, they come into this thing, and once they're corrected or reproved, they just fall apart. Hold up, who you talking to? I'm a man just like you. No, man. Yahweh Shema Shai is setting up a government here. And again, you respect this government, you respect Esau's government, man. You come to a damn red light, you stop. You know, you come to a stop sign, you stop, man. Why? Because you respect the order that the government has laid out. Well, it's no different when you come into this arena, man. See? Obey them that have the rule over you and submit yourselves. Yeah, you have to come under the rule of the leadership. The Lord have set up a leadership in Israel for the first time. And this is not, you know, the leadership in the form of some damn NAACP, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King or Medgar Evers, all right, Louis Farrakhan, these self-proclaimed leaders amongst Israel. No, the leaders that you see right now are the priests, you know, the men that's, you know, operating in the function of the house of David. And that's what you have just come into. When you come into someone's house, there's house rules, man. And you have to obey by those rules. And if you don't, you're going to be kicked out of the house. Matter of fact, let me get something else real quick and we'll go back. The book of Psalms, the 65th chapter. In the 4th verse, it says, blessed is the man whom thou choosest. Yeah, the Lord chose us. Okay? And that's pursuant to the book of, I believe that's St. John, the 15th chapter, in the 16th verse. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. See? Blessed is the man whom thou choosest and causes to approach unto thee. Yeah, the Lord have caused all of us to approach unto him. When you come into this congregation, you have just approached the throne of Yahweh Shema Shai, man. Hey, when you go into the ancient world, when you approach the throne of a king, you have to approach it in a certain fashion. You can't step up with your head in the air. Hey, you could be beheaded on the spot, man. You have to approach the king, approach the throne humbly. You see? Again, it says, blessed is the man whom thou choosest and causes to approach unto thee. See? That he may dwell in thy courts. Yeah, and what's the courts? The house of David. You come into someone's house, somebody invites you into their house, you have to dwell within that house in a certain fashion. See? It says, we shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house. See that? So that proves when you come into this congregation, you have just come into the house of David, the house of the Most High. See? It says, even of thy holy temple, which again translates to this house. So again, blessed is the man whom thou choosest and causes to approach unto thee. Yeah, who can approach the throne of Yahweh Shema Shai? Least invited, man. And again, that's the same dynamic with a house. You know, you come to my house, I have to invite you. You know? It says that he may dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of the holy temple. Now, when you click on the definition of this word dwell, because the scriptures say that he may dwell in thy courts. All right? Let's get this definition real quick. The Hebrew word would be shakan. Shakan, it says to settle down, abide, dwell. See? Tabernacle, which is house, reside, to settle down, to abide, dwell, reside, to make, settle down, establish. Okay, so the Lord said, whom he causes to dwell in his courts. That's pretty much to establish in his house, right? Now, when you click on the definition of this word for establish,
establish.
It says set up an organization, see, system, or set of rules, see, or set of rules, a system, a set of rules. See that? So you are coming into a government, man. This is not a free fall. This is not barbershop talk, you know. This is not a level playing field where everybody has an opinion. No, You are coming into a government, a set of rules, an establishment, an organization, a system, man. And again, this is the main catalyst for a lot of guys who come in being dismissed or kicked out of the camp. And again, this even applies to the casual listener, if you will, those who are not numbered amongst the ranks of Great Millstone, you know, not being a part of a camp per se, but you actually come into this arena. You partake in the congregation. Well, guess what? There's even a certain way you are to hear. Hey, everything is meticulous with your Yahweh Shema Shah. When you go back into the time of Noah, for an example, where when he built the ark, it had to be done the way the Lord told him to build. He had to use certain materials, certain wood, gopher wood, certain pitch, certain tar. All right? He couldn't build the way he wanted to build. And it's the same with this ministry. We can't teach the way we want to teach. We got to teach the way Yahweh Shema Shah told us to teach, man, which is go out on the highways and byways, you know, constantly, continually to praise the Lord with our lips in the form of these videos. And guess what? On the flip side, there's a way you are to hear. You know, you just can't come in this thing and hear the way you want to hear. There's an order. There's a set of rules. Matter of fact, let's prove that. This is the book of Luke, the 8th chapter, in the 18th verse. It says, take heed, therefore, how you hear. See, let's read this again. Take heed, therefore, how you hear. Yeah, so you can't come in this thing the way you want, man. You have to proceed with caution, understanding that you are coming into the presence of Yahweh Shema Shah. See? And this is a hard transition we all had to make, man. Coming out of the world, you know, out of black culture, which promotes death. Look, this is not another phase of black culture right here, man. This is a government. This is the Lord setting us in order. And with any order, you're going to have leaders. You're going to have certain men that have the jurisdiction over you. And that's a stumbling block. That's a hurdle that most jakes are not willing to get over. They can't see themselves submitting or yielding to the men of the Lord. And that was always the downfall of Israel. Whenever the Lord sent his men in the form of the prophets, they couldn't find it in their heart to yield to that authority figure. See? So that's why you're going to always have men to not be able to dwell in the courts of Yahweh Shema Shah. They're not going to be able to abide in the house of David. Because again, when you go into someone's house, there's rules, man. You don't go to someone's house and kick your feet up with your shoes on the couch with the remote in your hand, man. Okay? So not only is there an order with teaching his word, there's an order in how you hear. Okay? Matter of fact, this is Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, in the 1st verse. It says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High. See? When you come into this arena, you got to keep your foot and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. You see that? And you see that, man. A lot of guys, they might come on the live streams. They might blur out some off shit. And they'll get blocked, you know? And again, the Lord will honor that. You know, you might look at it as if, who cares if I got blocked? No, man. We just read in Matthew the 18th chapter that whatever the men of the Lord loose on earth is going to be loosed in heaven. So this serious business, man. All right? This is a spiritual overtone to this ministry. And Yahweh Shema Shah fingerprints is all over it, man. See? It says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. And that's what you got to do. You got to consider. You have to proceed with caution. You just can't, you know, leap without looking. This is serious business that you have been exposed to, man. All right? So real quick, let's look up the definition of this word, goest. Because the scripture says, keep thy foot when thou goest into the house of the Most High. So yeah, the Hebrew word for this word goes would be yalak, yalak. And it says to go, walk, come, to go, walk, come, proceed. See? Proceed. And there is a certain way you are to proceed into the house of the Most High. And that's with caution, man. That should be a certain level of fear. There should be an element of fear. And actually, that fear should be towards the government that Yahweh Shai has laid out. And this shouldn't be such a hard concept or idea to digest, man. Some foreign way of thinking. Because again, you respect the rules and regulations of this government. Case in point, right now, they have curfews throughout the landscape of America. You might have to be at the house at 10 o'clock. And guess what? You honor that. Why? Because ultimately you fear the consequences, man, of the government. So how much more when concerning the house of the Most High, the house of David, when you come into this congregation, guess what? That fear should be amplified. Matter of fact, this is Ecclesiasticus, the 18th chapter, and the 27th verse, it says, a wise man will fear, see, a wise man will fear in everything. Yeah, when you have a guy to come into this hearing, all right, whether he's joined to the ranks or he's just, again, a casual believer, well, a lot of times they don't fear. They look at, the men, the order that Yahweh Shai set up as regular men. You a man just like me. Well, guess what? Yahweh Shai don't see it that way. Matter of fact, we're going to go back there, but let me get something real quick come to mind. That's in the book of Numbers, the 12th chapter. And starting at the 6th verse, it says, and he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. Oh, there go that word house again, man. Which again, a house symbolize the very idea of a house and the very essence of a house captures rules. There's house rules, man. So the scriptures say, my servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. See? With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Yes, so you should be afraid to speak against the men or the order that Yahweh Shai set up, man. See that? Again, it says, with him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. Yeah, meaning the Lord, and this symbolizes us, because the Lord don't speak to us in dark speeches or riddles. It's clear to us, man. It's a riddle to you. It's dark speeches to you, but we shed light on it. We break the riddle down for you. So in essence, the Lord is speaking to us clearly, man. So again, and with him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Yeah, so you got guys that actually speak against the order, the government, man. And again, when you consider the so-called white man's government, hey, you speak out against this government, they come and see about you, man. So how much more with Yahweh Shai? And the point is there got to be a certain level of fear. You have to fear the government. See? So going back here to Ecclesiasticus 18 and 27, a wise man will fear in everything. Yes, so if you was wise, you come into this arena, you're joined to the ranks, then you're going to fear. You're going to fear offending. You don't want to offend the men of the Lord. You don't want to offend the little ones. You fear, man, knowing that you're in the presence of Yahweh Shai. You proceed with caution. See? A wise man will fear in everything, and in the day of sinning, he will beware of offense. Yeah, because when you go off, your antennas go up. The Lord give you that sense, if you will, to know, like, oh shit. Then you pray to Yahweh Shai for forgiveness, man. It says, but a fool will not observe time. See? So that's the dynamic. That's the distinguishing, the determining factor. The wise in wisdom or the lack thereof, which will make you a fool. And pretty much there's a saying, fools rush in. Fools rush in, man. Meaning they don't proceed with caution. So yeah, I just want to touch on that, Lord willing. It was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.